Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Canadian Football Central, CFL content for the fans, by the fans, and we have our Week 19 preview here coming up. Back to 4 games this weekend. And Rick, we're going to be watching 2 of these live, and we're going to be together for this one, as this is the week. We have been talking to you wonderful people. We have mentioned this multiple times in the videos. If you are not aware, Rick is going to be flying to Winnipeg. And
with my posse.
We'll be seeing the Bombers Argos game. He'll be in some other seats there at a sold-out crowd at Princess Auto Stadium.
Yes, I found that out today.
For this is the fourth consecutive sold-out barn here in Winnipeg for their last home game of the season against Toronto Argonauts, and then we will be driving to Regina the very next day.
In a 6-hour car ride.
Very important game between the BC Lions and the Saskatchewan Roughriders, which could decide who gets home field advantage come playoffs. So some big ramifications for that game. We're going to be filming some wonderful content in the Saskatchewan Roughriders tailgate before the game. I believe it's the Party in the Park. I think that's what they call it. I think that's what they refer to it as. They got all sorts of good food there. By the way, if you're there, try out the fish tacos. You will thank me later.
Oh, sounds horrible.
Fish tacos. You keep your mouth shut, boy. Fish tacos are delicious. They have some good ones there. If you're a fish taco guy, apparently Rick's not. You'll like the ones they have there. They're good. Anyways, though, big weekend for us. And we're going to have a lot of fun at this. And so I think we should get started with the first game. How's that sound, Rick?
It sounds great.
Which is the Friday game on October 11th, as the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, as we established before, will be hosting the Toronto Argonauts at Princess Auto Stadium. Now, before I get into it, make sure you guys like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you hit the notification bell, helps out the channel a ton. And if you're listening on Spotify, give us 5 stars. Have to get the shameless plug out of the way. Now, into the game. Winnipeg, Toronto. Rick, how do you feel about this one? Are you excited?
To be honest with you, I'm not even looking forward to the game. I'm looking forward to the sellout crowd giving Chad Kelly a piece of their mind is what I'm more looking forward to.
At the end of the day, you're going to hear all the true Blue Bomber fans. Also, the thing that's going to be real funny is the amount of times we've been talking and you've heard me go, Brady Oliveira. You're going to be able to hear the actual announcer in the stadium and you're going to finally get the reference, which will be fun. Because that's what the reference is just the way the guy in the stadium
I'm actually quite curious.
announces it. Rick, I think you're gonna have a blast. It's a beautiful building. One of the nicest in the CFL. I think maybe Mosaic is maybe a little bit nicer. And then BC Place is very nice, but it's a little bit older. And it's also just very, very different. It's hard to compare that to the rest of the league. For all sorts of different things, but I think my
question to you is, okay. So never mind. I was just looking at the seating chart. So you guys are opposite of us, where the teams are on opposite sides, not like East Coast where they're both on the same side. You guys have
no. They're on opposite sides because we have to make sure our opponents are beaming in the sun and our Bombers are very much in the shade.
Thanks, because I'll be beaming in the sun over in that section.
Well, that's all right. I'll come say hi, and you'll come down, and I'll show you the concourse. I'll buy you a beer. You bought me a beer out at Tim Hortons Field. I'm buying you a beer.
Yes. And that's the other good thing.
Yeah.
Is I'm not a DD this trip, so I get to have all the fun I want.
Exactly, and you're going to be wearing a nice Winnipeg Blue Bombers Brady Oliveira jersey. By the way, Rick, I probably should have asked you this. I got you the one with the ads on it, just because it's more authentic.
I got one other thing to show you.
Oh yeah. Oh, what's he got? What's he cooking? Guys, you guys got any idea what Rick's cooking? I don't know. What's he got? This is the fun thing of us just doing this all in one take.
I can't show it this game. I have to show it next game. Don't worry.
What was the
Just
point of going back there?
because I had to grab something.
Oh, okay. Oh, like you have it with you now.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. But this game, pretty important game as Toronto most likely coming in third in the East, but looking to secure that with an important game. And also, they have the benefit of the Alouettes playing the Red Blacks. So if they're looking to sneak into that second spot, they may be able to, if they're able to get a win on a red-hot Winnipeg Blue Bombers with 8 consecutive wins. Reminder, this team was 0-4 in the first 4 games of the year, and they are now up to a 10-6 record, only 3 points shy behind the Alouettes for second in the league. And so Argos looking to get something going, looking to bring it back to when they won the Grey Cup against the Bombers, which made me very sad as I was looking for that three-peat. But it is what it is. It's a new day. It's a new game. And all in all, this will be an exciting game as it'll be nice seeing. This will be the first time Janarian Grant will be playing back in Winnipeg, this time as the rival. And will be wearing he'll be wearing blue, but not the true blue. And he will be in the white. Are they going to go with the all whites with the baby blue helmets? They might do that. I don't know.
Because if you guys are wearing those, I think that they'll go with the dark blue.
Realistically, the Bombers will probably wear their standard home attire. Only thing that they might change is they might wear the alternate pants with the normal uniforms. They sometimes do that, but
yeah,
I think they'll probably just wear the normal uniforms.
I'm actually just looking. Your guys' last home game
of the regular season.
I'm just looking to see what type of atmosphere, because I've heard so much things about this.
Well, you're gonna hear it. It's gonna be very good. It gets very rowdy here in Winnipeg at the games. You'll have a fun time. So it'll be good in that regard. The atmosphere will be very much nice. I think you'll enjoy it. I think you'll get a kick out of it, and also it'll be nice for you in the sense of that. There's no question of who you're cheering for. You'll be cheering with the crowd as you're cheering against those Argos, obviously.
So here's the thing that I was thinking about all week is after last week, I was kind of leaning on the fence of Toronto. But then I started to come around and I thought to myself, you know what? Because we're 4 points behind Toronto, we have 2 games left. They have 3 games left. We got to cheer for Winnipeg because we need Toronto to lose because we have the tiebreaker against Toronto.
That is true.
So, I will be there in my Ticat merch with my Winnipeg Blue Bombers jersey.
There you go. Although you might be wearing the Canadian Football Central hats, as we're going to be getting those.
I may.
So you might be in that. I'll be wearing my bomber cap for that game. I'm going to be completely real with you. But I'll definitely be wearing my Canadian Football Central hat for the Saturday game that we will be attending, as that will be a fun time. But at the end of the day, I think that the Bombers will be able to have some success with the running game. I think the passing game is much, 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 much better than it was when the Bombers played the Argos earlier this season. And Winnipeg right now, we're looking to secure that West final, the number 1 spot in the West. And I think there's no... At the end of the day, Winnipeg has shown that playing against the Bombers in Winnipeg is no easy feat. Got one hell of a crowd behind them, and they've been able to use that to their advantage. And so I got to go with my Winnipeg Blue Bombers. My prediction is that the Bombers will beat the Argonauts in their last home game of the season. Rick, your prediction.
I just told you my prediction.
You're predicting Winnipeg, right?
Yes.
No, I just want to confirm. We want to make sure it's on the record there. You know what I mean? And that will bring us into the Saturday game, the first of the 2 Saturday games.
Battle of the non-playoff teams.
Where we get the trilogy, and this will be the This will not be the Revenge of the Sith end of the trilogy. This will be the Rise of Skywalker end of the trilogy. Also at the point of where it just doesn't matter anymore, and no one really gives a shit about this one. No offense. Sorry, I'm a big Star Wars fan, and the sequels are just a pure and utter disappointment, and so I have to take a little bit of a
Dumpster diver. Oh.
Oh God, this is gonna be like the Jurassic Park 3. Oh fuck.
No. You know what this is? You know what this is gonna be, Carter?
Yeah.
Do you remember that Edmonton Winnipeg game or was it Edmonton Winnipeg that we just wanted to claw our eyes out when we were live streaming that game?
Oh no, that was Edmonton
and
Ottawa.
It's gonna be Edmonton Ottawa version 2.0, but Calgary and Edmonton.
That game, like I think I would have rather just ate a cup full of sawdust. I just could not.
Mind you,
watching paint dry would have looked like a friggin' blood sport compared to that game.
Mind you, we will be able to sit in our Airbnb house and watch this.
Yeah, exactly. And either I'll be there smirking and Connor will be there annoyed, or Connor will not let me hear the end of it. I know it'll be one of those two, based on the game.
Oh my God, that's gonna be a dreadful drive because you guys are both gonna be in the front seats.
Dreadful for us. You guys are cramming 3 people in the back of a small 2016 Nissan Sentra. I'll be fine.
That's okay. I'll have things to watch on my new iPhone 16.
Whoa, there we go.
So,
it's all right. We'll have great content to film on your new iPhone 16.
Yes, new content.
So, all in all, though, with this game, it's like realistically, this game matters much more for Calgary than it does for Edmonton, as it's a home game. Draw a decent crowd, beat your rival. That's at the end of the game. At the end of the game. At the end of the day, sorry. Both teams are eliminated from the playoffs. Beat your rival.
I will just put it this way.
One last swing.
It does not matter where Calgary finishes in the standings. Yep. If they finish first or if they finish second last, because Edmonton does not have a first round draft pick because they used it in the supplemental draft. So it doesn't matter if Calgary finishes first or second; they're still going to get the first overall draft pick.
So,
unless they go on a tear and they somehow pass us in the standings.
So maybe Curtis Rourke becomes a Calgary Stampeder, and that's the quarterback.
Honestly, with how well he's been doing, I don't even think he gets.
He might not even go to the CFL. He might just
he'll go straight to the NFL.
Yeah, well, they might take a jab at him. Who knows? But at the end of the day, it's like, who do you have winning this game? I have no idea.
Was it you that was telling me when Edmonton and Hamilton were playing that was called the Toilet Bowl? Well, we gotta have the Toilet Bowl 2.0.
Yeah, God, this is
or the dumpster fire.
Oh, this is Jurassic Park 3. This is where like we couldn't hire any of the original cast to come back, and this is just the sequel that's going like directly to fucking Blu-ray or something. And so it's like
the horses versus the deer.
Or the elk.
Okay, it's a deer. It's a deer. I don't care.
They're all deer. They're all deer.
Yeah.
Caribou, elk. They're all just deer, bigger and smaller. Oh my!
It just depends on if you hit one with your car
my prediction.
Or not.
I'm gonna predict the Calgary Stampeders. Calgary's done pretty decent at home. And in my opinion, the Stampeders have a bit more to play for, even though I think the Elks are a better team. I'm going to say the Stampeders just because I think getting a win in front of their home crowd will give them a bit more motivation than Edmonton, who realistically
I'm trying to find out
this game past beating a rival.
I'm trying to find out who, because after last week's 379 yards that Bethel took, I don't think they go back to forward in this. So I will say Edmonton comes out and wins this one because I have no faith in Jake Mayer whatsoever.
That's fair. Yeah, it's at the end of the day, it's not like I really have a lot of faith in Calgary. It's just their record at home is decent, and I think they have a bit more to play for, so a bit more pride. That's the only reason I'm taking Calgary in this game. But then that brings us,
Unless this game ends in a tie.
God, if you're trying to find a way to make this game more boring, that might be it.
Listen, don't you remember? Edmonton always finds ways to lose, or
Well,
in this case, don't win.
well,
They're 2-8. They're 2-6 at home and 3-5 on the road, but
I
they're
don't know,
4-5
but
against the division.
all I hope is that one of these teams can find a way to make this game interesting. And then that will bring us into the third game of the week, and it is the second game of the week that we will be at, where the BC Lions take on the Saskatchewan Roughriders. See,
Look
on
at
one
this
hand,
lovely beaut.
I love that you got our boy AJ Allen on there, and then on the other hand, it's green. Oh, it'd be really funny, Rick, if you had your green screen working right now, and it would just be it'd be like you're holding up John Cena, like we wouldn't see anything. Like, there's just nothing there. One of those floating white numbers. But then, but yeah, no, this will be a fun game. Again, reminder: we will be at the at this game. We'll be at the tailgate as well, doing some fun trivia. We'll be kind of maybe doing some predictions going into this game. All sorts of content in that regard,
and we will be giving out CFL cards.
Yeah, we're going to be doing that for some trivia rewards, all that sort of stuff. Lots of fun in that regard. So I'm not going to show you what cards we have, but we have a whole bunch of them. So we'll be giving those out just because, fun trivia stuff. Me and Rick got to figure out exactly what questions we're going to do, but that's fine. That shouldn't be hard. But this game, again, important ramifications as this will kind of do a little bit of shaping with the West. If the Bombers beat the Argos, realistically, I think they mathematically clinch the West final. I'm not sure if it will depend on Saskatchewan winning. I'll put it this way. If Toronto loses to Winnipeg and BC wins this game, I think for sure Winnipeg clinches the West final. If otherwise, then it gets a little murky, and I'm not exactly sure. But at the end of the day, these teams are fighting for the rights to play a game at home, whether that's first in the West, whether that's second in the West. They are fighting for the right for a home playoff game for home field advantage come playoffs, and so it's enough to fight for. So I'm glad that this late into the year, Rick, that the game that we got tickets for
actually means
months
something?
in advance actually means something. I'm very happy about that.
It's funny because when I was actually planning on this trip, I remember Connor telling me, he's like, oh, it's going to be that late in the season. Toronto's going to be resting its players. Winnipeg's going to be resting its players. Who would have thought up to this point, teams were still in the playoffs and that games up until the end of the season still actually mean something?
Yeah. They still do. And so that's what's fun about this. That's one thing I think that's made this year in the CFL so interesting. Again, even though I don't like that my team necessarily went 4 straight games of nothingness to start the year, I think their resurrection coming back has been a lot of fun. Seeing the Red Blacks finally have some success has been fun. Ticats a little bit with a late bloom, but that was a bit fun to watch. Elks with a terrible start, but then just kind of started to drill right back into it. Saskatchewan starting off the year hot, going on a big losing streak, and now just kind of finally getting their crap together. BC with all sorts of different signings coming into that lineup and getting mixed results. And we've had some true upsets of games and some weeks that were more predictable, I think, like last week, and some weekends in some weeks prior where we've had a lot more crazy upsets. At the end of the day, again, Hamilton's Argos beating the Argos 3 out of 3 times. I know you're going to love that, Rick.
Let's just say anyone can beat anyone in this league.
Yep, and this year has been extremely evident of that. And with that, we have the Riders-Lions game here. I'll be rooting for the Lions because I can't cheer for those darndest Riders. Rick, how do you feel about the matchup in this game? We got Trevor Harris going against Nathan Rourke. And then William Stanback in the running game. Hickson, I'm assuming, is going to be starting running back for this game. I don't know if they go to AJ Ouellette. I don't know what they do. As in terms of the running back situation in Saskatchewan, they have Armstead in there as well, who had done very, very well in Ottawa. They have a lot of options, but it looked like Hickson was kind of their main guy that they've been rolling with the past bit.
I mean, Saskatchewan doesn't have Bain Jr.
Yep, that is a big loss. Although Samuel Emelis, as well as
Keyshawn Johnson.
Keyshawn Johnson with a very, very big games last week. Kean Schaefer Baker able to put up some good performances on home turf, and then Stearns has been all right for them. Is Joe still healthy or?
Last time, let me just jump
Just
on
because I know
here
I
for
know
a
he didn't
second.
really I know he didn't play last week, but I'm just curious.
Uh, so Joe is actually on the 6th game.
I see. I was just wondering.
Picton's on the 6th game. Mayers is on the 6th game. Joe is on the 6th game. You're going to have Bain Jr. on the 6th game. So you basically have Mario Alford, Keyshawn Johnson, Held, Duncan, Busby, Emelis, Stearns, Colton Hunchak, who used to play for the Stampeders. They signed him this week. And Keon Schaefer Baker.
I see.
So my feeling about this game is it would be interesting to see Calgary start on the or BC start on the road than having to play at home.
Yeah.
Because then you're really showing yourself that you have to work to get to play at the Grey Cup on your home turf.
Yeah. I think realistically with this, Saskatchewan's had some mixed results on the road. BC's had some mixed results on the road. I don't think there's really any clear favorite in terms of teams that are perform well in away games or well in home games or whatnot. I think it's pretty even in that regard. I think with BC, I think the consistency of Nathan Rourke is gonna be a big thing, and what you're gonna be able to get out of him. I think the pass defense will be very important for the BC Lions. I think if their defensive line is able to put some pressure on Trevor Harris the way that they were able to on on Bethel Thompson last week. That'll be, or not Bethel Thompson. The pressure that they were able to put on Jake Mayer last week. I don't know why I was stumbling there. Wrong Alberta team. And so I think that could be key.
Interesting note: the last team to hoist the Grey Cup on home soil has been 11 years. Since 2013, and that was Saskatchewan Roughriders when they hosted it that year.
Yep.
That was the last time a home team has hoisted the Grey Cup on home turf.
On home turf, yeah. But if you're the BC Lions,
BC Lions have a lot of work to do with their offensive line.
They got a lot of work to do, and then the other thing is that
what quarterback do we start?
When Nathan Rourke first came back, I remember one of the assistant coaches of the BC Lions talking about how it feels like 2022 all over again. Then they want to get back to that. I'm going to tell you right now that clip is saved on my phone and may possibly be used at a further point in time. As you know, I wouldn't mind if it felt like 2022.
The one thing that
is not going to lie, that kind of ended up with Winnipeg beating BC in the playoffs. But
the one thing that I will mention that I do believe that you had mentioned before is I believe their locker room is split
between Vernon and Nathan Rourke.
Yes.
And see, it's possible. but it's also it's one of those things where it might not even necessarily be that the locker room doesn't believes in one more than the other. It might not be that. It might also just be that some players naturally play a little bit better with others, and not necessarily that they dislike the other player. But it's like at the end of the day, you need a unit you need a team that's able to be able to work well together. I'll put it this way: there are guys that I had as defense partners, and I got along with them very, very well. Like for hockey, I got along with them very, very well, and we played well together. There were guys that I got along with very, very well. Nicest people in the world, weren't the best defense partners with them, and it wasn't any fault on me or him. We just couldn't get our communication down the way that we could off the ice. And at the end of the day, that's sometimes how it is. So I don't think there's a divide in the BC locker room in terms of faith or belief in a particular quarterback, one over the other. I think there's maybe a divide in terms of players that play better when Vernon Adams Jr. is the guy at the helm versus guys that when Nathan Rourke is at the helm. Um, at the end of the day, BC at the end of the day, they signed Nathan Rourke. They put themselves in this situation. So it's their responsibility to get them out of that situation. If they're the BC Lions, though, you're looking for another home playoff game in addition to that Grey Cup because there's no guarantee you're in that game. And with the BC Lions, with them opening up the upper bowl for their last home game of the season, and with them being able to draw some big crowds over there in BC Place, I think if they can
So,
have another playoff game at home, and they could draw in some huge revenue. And I think overall, Lions are going to be fighting for that.
so here's my thing: is in 7 games, going 3-4,
Yep.
3 wins, 4 losses for Nathan Rourke. He has 1,581 yards, 4 touchdowns, 7 interceptions.
That
Vernon
is the
Adams
Achilles heel.
in his games, he has 2,544 yards, 14 touchdowns, 7 interceptions.
Yep. Yep. I'm not gonna
So,
lie. I if I was the Lions, I don't know if I would have signed. Well, I don't know if we should have said. I don't know if I'd signed Rourke because I think it would have been very, very tempting. I don't know if I would have signed them for the contract they did. That is another story.
no.
But Vernon Adams Jr. At one point was one of
Mind
the
you,
leading MOP candidates in this league. So if they decided to go with him for this game, especially to screw up Saskatchewan's
he ain't
film,
going to win
wouldn't.
the MOP. Let's be real here.
No, he won't. I was saying at one point he was in the running because of how well he was performing, but I think it's one of those things where it's like if you don't start 4 games in a row, it's kind of hard to win MOP no matter how good your other games are.
Nathan
Realistically, they look for someone who played consistently throughout the entire season.
Nathan Rourke needs, and for him to do well, he needs to be with the team since training camp in order for him to do well.
Yeah, no, this team this playbook and whatnot was built for Vernon Adams Jr. and now Nathan Rourke is taking it on. So I don't know, Rick. Who do you think will win this game? I have my prediction. Do you want me to go first, or you want to go first?
Oh, I already know who you're going for.
So I'm hoping for the BC Lions. However, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if I have faith in them to win this game. I know
I'm
I
saying
want to win.
so. Here's the thing. I don't think with them being on a bye week this week, they've fixed their whole offensive line fiasco. I don't think that they've fixed their whole quarterback fiasco. So I am going with Saskatchewan on this game.
Yeah, I'm struggling. As on one hand, I want to pick the Lions. I want them to win this game as a Bomber fan.
But in your heart, you cannot pick the Riders.
Well, in my heart, I'm picking the Lions, but in my head, in terms of who I think will win, I'm gonna be going with Saskatchewan. I just, in my opinion, BC's got too many problems, and I think the problems that they do have, I think the Riders can exploit. I think the Riders play well at home, especially from the games I've been to, specifically the Labor Day games. But then again, those are also a little bit of a different beast in its own. Um, I think the Saskatchewan Roughriders will get the W against the Lions, as much as I don't want them to. Now, that will bring us into the last game of the week, Rick, which is on Thanksgiving Monday. As there's
When
no
I will
game,
be flying back.
as there's no game on the Sunday, as me and Rick will be at a Winnipeg Jets versus Minnesota Wild game back in Winnipeg at
Yes.
Canada Life Center. Or if you're a Winnipeg native, you're calling it Winnipeg. You're calling it the MTS Center. It's been that my entire life. That's what I'm gonna call it. That's as it was growing up. It's not Canada Life Center. Throw that crap out of there. So that'll be a fun time for us. Kind of the ending of our road trip. But then got more football on the Monday. Ottawa Redblacks take on the Montreal Alouettes in Montreal, where Montreal has nothing left to fight for, and realistically, they may ease up the. I wouldn't be surprised if Davis Alexander starts this game. So I don't know, Rick. How do you feel about this one?
I'm just trying to find out.
Because the Red Blacks are still fighting for that home playoff spot. The Alouettes, they've clinched the East final already. There's nothing left for them to win when it comes to this regular season.
I was trying to find out who was, or find out. This will tell me. Was he? Okay, so he's not. Okay, so he's just third string. I was trying to see if Brown was starting or if he was even dressed.
Yeah.
But he was third string last week. But even with Mazzoli, like I don't know. Either way, I'm just gonna come out and say it. Ottawa ain't winning this game.
Yeah, I don't know. They've just the way they clinched playoffs was not because they got a win when they had multiple opportunities to get one. It was because they had to rely on Hamilton losing. So,
Yes, which is bogus.
Yeah,
And I honestly don't think Ottawa will go far in the playoffs.
I don't know because it's difficult because Ottawa was a team that was able to play so well and so deceivingly well earlier in the season.
Yeah, but they have no offense, though.
As of recent, yeah, no, they've struggled in that regard. And the running back that Armstead, who is really providing for them, is gone.
It's not even that. You have Calgary with the worst offense, Edmonton with the second, and then Ottawa with 363 points. Yeah, and then from there you go to Montreal and Winnipeg.
Yeah, I don't know. I think even a handicapped Alouettes beats the Red Blacks with the trend that they're on. I don't see this. Going out. I'm not saying that Ottawa can't win this game. They certainly can, but I haven't seen any indicators that there's necessarily been a turnaround. I don't know if maybe that off week has changed it all for them.
So here's the thing. Yep. Here's the thing. So you are 6 points ahead of Ottawa.
Yep.
You've already clinched the division. You already have the season series
and against the East final.
And the East final. Do you rest players,
yes,
or do you let them play?
You rest at least some of them. Put it this way: Fajardo would not be on. I'd be playing Davis Alexander for sure, no question. Past that, I think you would go kind of 50-50. I think realistically, you have guys play the first quarter. Then I'd say about half of those veterans you take out in the second quarter.
So kind of like a preseason type.
Yeah, just kind of have guys start the game and then kind of funnel out, and then have some of the backups then take over. Maybe have them kind of like one drive you got them on, next drive other guys are on. I don't know. You just kind of play it by ear. Overall, not giving those guys too much exposure. Realistically, I see them having at least 3 or 4 of their top guys sit, including Cody Fajardo. And so, but overall, the Alouettes have shown that they're a team with a lot of depth, and so I think with a home crowd, with all the most annoying horns on God's green earth, that
Oh
actually
God, this is
make
a
me.
definitely not watching this game.
Yeah, no, this is a game that you're gonna want to watch on mute so you don't hear those horns because it's not a loud crowd. It's an annoying crowd. I'm sorry,
I
the horns
I will
suck.
I will listen to Ottawa's play-by-play radio.
Play-by-play radio. Yeah, no, that might be a good idea. Um, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna go with the Alouettes for this one. Rick.
I will go with Alouettes too. So the only two games that we have not agreed on is the Calgary game and the BC Saskatchewan game.
We both took Saskatchewan.
I thought you took BC.
No, I said I wanted to take BC.
Oh, okay. I will change
As I
that
want
on
BC
my
to
end.
win, but my heart tells me BC, but my mind is telling me Saskatchewan.
Okay, so
I want
only
BC, but the smart
only
decision.
the Battle of Alberta.
Yeah, and so that's the one game we disagree on, and it's also the one game that neither of us really care about.
No.
It is what it is, but again, all that fun stuff with. Oh man, I'm starting to get tired. Ugh. And so all that fun stuff with Rick being here for the Winnipeg Toronto game, and then also us being there in Saskatchewan, in Regina for the BC.
Those trivia questions, we'll save that for the road when we're driving to Saskatchewan because it will give us something to do on the road trip.
Well, we'll do a few in advance, so we're not completely unprepared, but we might find some.
I mean, what else can we do for a 6-hour car ride, lads? Let's be honest here.
Oh, we'll find shit.
Besides singing some tunes.
You know that we'll get into dumb arguments about, like, I don't know, like who's better between one character from a franchise versus another character. I don't know, something dumb. We're dumb. We'll think of something.
About the old country roads in Regina and Saskatchewan.
Oh God.
Farmland.
Yeah, well, I can't wait till you're in Winnipeg and you see how terrible our roads are. I'm gonna give you a tour of the city. It's gonna be great.
Oh, nothing's as worse as Mississauga right now. Everywhere you go, Mississauga, it's all just because they're doing the LRT. Every street is almost.
I don't think you've prepared for the potholes here, my friend. I don't think you've prepared for, because you have to realize Winnipeg is built on clay, and so clay absorbs a lot of, unlike rock, it absorbs a lot of water. So when winter hits, or when spring hits in particular, when it melts in the day and freezes in the night, the constant freeze thawing and the expanding and contracting of the clay just destroys the concrete, and so it's just bumpy and messy all over the place. Seriously, I've actually damaged my car on potholes. Now most of them are filled at this point, but it's still a bumpy ride all over Winnipeg. That's why you never, ever buy a low riding vehicle in Winnipeg. That is a death sentence. If you buy a Lamborghini, expect to pay half that for repairs. I'm telling you right now.
What's that?
I said if you buy a car that's really low, like a Lamborghini, expect to pay half that price in repairs. And then also dumb drivers crashing into your vehicle. That sort of thing. Welcome to Winnipeg, folks! But it'll be a fun time at the games. So make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell. And then as well, if you're listening to us on Spotify, give us 5 stars. Follow us on our socials over on Instagram and on X. Link to that in the description below. Also check out some of my Bomber coverage that I have up on the Nolan Hockey Podcast. And then Rick's Ticats coverage over on Ticats Talk Network. Link to all of that in the description below. Rick, is there anything else you got? Peace, love, and positivity to all you wonderful people at home. And Rick, you leaned in like you were going to say something. What was it? Oh, okay.
No, I was going to say, don't forget to come say hi to us. We don't bite.
Exactly, we don't. We'll see you guys next time.